Hi everyone, my name is Danette. I am a stand-up comedian and I'm really happy to be doing interviews again. It's a lot of fun. I have tons of questions. I learned that from my ex-boyfriend who is Jewish. And let's just say that they're really curious people. Was that rude? Probably, but was it factual? 100%. So anyway, I love asking questions. I get to know people. And so I have Grant Sheffield here, and I'm going to be having some fun with him. So please join me. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
Dude, you're like in space.
Yeah, this is like my work background that I use or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let me change this to be
I
right.
mean, don't leave. I mean, outer space is pretty cool. I wouldn't change it. I need,
Cheesy.
yeah, you see, nobody wants that. Put it back.
Do you really want it back, the space thing?
I mean, how do you feel about it?
I don't have a preference. I'm used to that being on all day, but it doesn't matter.
I kind of like that you're in outer space, but this is better. I don't know. I don't know what the answers are.
Does anybody? There we go. We're back in space.
Yay! So I'm already recording. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna package it and like sell it off to Viacom.
Hey,
Apparently they're struggling and they need some content.
really?
No, I just made that up. But did you
Yeah.
like how I said that with a straight face?
You sold it. I was like, okay, nice.
Yeah, right. I should just do that.
Obviously.
How are you?
Um, what an interesting question, right? Like, I feel like whenever I'm asked that question or asking that question, I feel like a little guilty because I'm like, I pretty much know how everybody is. But I think I'm fine, right? Like, I think I'm fine. I don't think I'm like crushing it, but I'm just like, I'm getting through, you know?
Yeah, that's a great freaking response. So how was your weekend?
The weekend was good. I went to like a show in Brooklyn, hung out there for like an hour. It got like too cold, so I left.
Yeah, it's getting cold out. Oh, so I should probably introduce everyone. Hi, this is Danette again, and I am sitting here with Grant Sheffield. Is that the right way you say it? He is a stand-up comedian. He comes all the way from.
Come all the way from North Carolina, but I live in Queens.
And how long have you been doing stand-up?
I've been doing stand-up for 5 years now.
And how much do you love it?
So much that I'm doing it during a pandemic.
Yeah. How many shows did you get in during this whole time? Have you been keeping track?
I think on average, maybe I'm not doing a lot of shows. Maybe I'm doing like 2 to 4 shows every other week.
That's really good. I think that's good,
Yeah.
right? Considering the amount of comics that we have in New York.
Yeah, like you can definitely still do shows. I think like in the back of my head, I'm still like, all right, let's not go crazy though, and like not forget like what all this is based in.
That's true. Yeah. I went to a couple of shows this summer and it was so much fun to be around other comics and just to have that experience. And everybody was drinking. And I noticed as the night went on, the masks were coming down, the hugs were getting tighter. And I'm like, oh no, this is not okay because,
Yeah.
we don't know where people have been. And yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like I think uh so my issue is this, like comics just, generally are some of the nastiest people we might know. Like compared to like our regular person friends, like, oh, these are people who we often know might not wash their hands generally.
Yeah.
So like that's
Yeah.
been a thing for me.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. I can't argue that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen the same thing where like if I'm at a show and like my mask, it literally never comes off unless
Wow.
I'm taking the microphone in my hand and doing the jokes. As soon as I finish the jokes, I put it right back on. Like I never take it off.
That's diligent.
Even
That's
if it
really
makes,
diligent.
yeah, I know sometimes it probably makes like other people feel uncomfortable that I haven't taken it off and they have. I'm like, nope, I'm taking no chances.
Right, because who's gonna take care of you? God forbid you get sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did meet a comic who made fun of me for having a mask on, and he's like, it's not real. COVID is not real. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna like figure it out on my own, you know. I'm not gonna be like, let's see if this thing is not real, and then get caught up in the hospital and like who's gonna watch me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've also heard that from like some comics that they think it's a hoax and all that. I'm like, well, somebody didn't wake up today, so I'm pretty sure it's not a hoax, right?
Yeah. Speaking of not waking up today, great segue. I wanted to ask you about spirituality. How is your spirituality? Like, are you a follower of Christ? Are you Muslim? Are you atheist? Like, what's that about? And how do you feel even talking about it?
Oh yeah, so I am a Christian. I don't have a problem talking about it. I think that when I think about religion and spirituality, I think everybody comes from a different place with it. So like, I'm never the person to like, word vomit onto people like what I believe or what I think they should believe. But if like people ask me, I'm like 100% like, oh yeah, I do. And like, it's been weird like watching like church and things like that online because it's so easy to zone out and jump on Instagram and start scrolling and stuff like that, be on TikTok. So yeah.
I'm sorry. Are you saying to us that you've done like a church, you've watched a church online and then gotten so distracted that you jumped on Instagram?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, because the thing is, it's on YouTube, right? Like a
Right.
lot of churches like on YouTube. So the issue is YouTube is already social media. So it's this small of a difference between YouTube and Instagram. Like it's the next tab over on my phone.
Okay. Right, right, right.
So
But
yeah.
can you still listen to the sermon while you're in Instagram, or does it shut off?
Oh, so you can still watch it. Like if you have like the picture in picture thing on the iPhone.
Oh, I don't have that. I have to if I have my YouTube on, I have to watch it. Otherwise, if I get off of it, then it just shuts down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, so when the pandemic started, I was totally like tuning into TD Jakes and like Joel Osteen and all those pastors, which by the way, they're very controversial, but I feel like they have really good messages in there that can be applied to like everyday life. So it makes me feel better. But when the pandemic started, I was like making sure that I was feeding my spirit with like hopeful things because everything was so negative and like dark.
Yeah, I think like watching your Instagram stories before I took that brief sabbatical, like all the stuff that you would have would always be like something positive, like uplifting music. And like I was like, okay, Danette's like kind of getting into like this spiritual thing. She's trying to get these vibes right for her day, which was like really dope to see on your Instagram.
Oh, cool. Thanks for the shout out. Yay. Yeah, because I noticed myself that I would watch stories that were made me feel good. So I was like, oh, I need this. Like I'm like thirsty for like happiness. So I thought, how can I find my happiness? And then that was like going through walks and like taking pictures of flowers and yeah, so then I shared it. Cool.
A lot of flower pictures on your Instagram. A lot.
They're uplifting, like they have so much happy energy, like we take those things for granted. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but we take a lot of things for granted, like even like fresh air and water.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed, especially with how we're going.
Oh yeah. Like everything you see in the news makes people think that climate change isn't real and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, somebody needs to like really hunker down and like think about this thing, which
Yeah.
is it drives me crazy.
So so you teach students, right? Like what grades do you teach?
I teach seventh grade.
And how is it for you teaching online?
It's been not gonna lie, it's been very difficult.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's just like, you know, we're teaching on Zoom, but also a lot of times I'm doing jokes on Zoom. So like Zoom doesn't shut off at my house a lot of times, right? Like I
So
can be,
then yeah.
yeah, like I could be working or whatever, and then 2 hours later, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, I might have a Zoom show that's gonna last 2 hours. I'm like, yo, I haven't gotten off this computer all day long.
Right. So you're getting like mental fatigue almost, right?
So that's why it's good to go outside, like you were mentioning, like going on a walk and stuff like that. Um, I do feel like blocked when I don't go outside after being on the computer all day. It's like my mood is completely different.
Interesting. What's your routine like to keep your mental, to keep you happy,
So
sane, to keep
typically,
yourself sane?
yeah. I think going to the gym has been good. So I just started back going to the gym the beginning of this month. So that's been kind of cool, like having a kind of going back to the old days where like I had a routine. It's like, okay, I get up, I have my coffee, then I'll go to the gym, then I'll work, and then like maybe sometime during lunch I'll like watch some silly TV show that'll keep me like in a good mood or whatever. And then after work, might go out to a mic or a show and then try to get home at a decent time.
What's decent for you?
It really varies on the time of the week. Like,
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think if it's the beginning of the week, I try my best to be in my house by 11 o'clock if possible. But if it's like Thursday,
Teaching.
yeah, like if it's Thursday and I'm not teaching the next day, I might get in at 1:30.
Ooh, bad boy.
Train shuts down and all that, and I'm just like, well, maybe I can get it home.
Train doesn't shut down, does it?
Yeah,
It
so
does?
at 1 o'clock. That's it.
Oh, I didn't know that at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, from 1 to 5 it's shut down.
Okay, I realize that there's like noise in the background, which really sucks. Can you hear it on your end?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. How's your room? So do you have roommates, right? Currently have roommates?
No, so I have a studio now, so it's just me, which is pretty solid.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a big deal, you know. I had 3 roommates before to now have my own place. It's like a big jump for me.
How long have you been on your own with the studio?
I moved, I think the first week of July. Yeah, the first week of July.
Do you hear that, ladies? Grant has his own crib. That's awesome. I have so many questions here for you. So one of the questions that I have for you is, so what are the silly shows that you're watching that keeps you uplifted?
Okay, so I've been watching a lot of older shows like on Netflix. Like Girlfriends is a show that's on Netflix. That was something I used to watch like my mom. That's a really silly show. Um, Usually pretty funny or silly. Scrubs, I used to watch that show growing up as well.
So a lot of nostalgic stuff that reminds you of your youth when there was no pandemic.
Exactly. I don't think I'm watching anything that's like brand new. Yeah, I think only nostalgic shows. Like there's
Mhm.
nothing that has been made in the last year or two that I've watched as far as like during this pandemic situation.
Did you watch the Michael Jordan documentary?
I
On
did.
Netflix? Oh, okay.
Loved it. I watched it late though. I watched it like 2 or 3 months after everybody else because I was like, I need something that I can like watch and not be interrupted by other people's opinions. So like,
Right. Yeah. Same for me. Yeah. I still have like 2 more episodes to finish.
oh well, yeah,
I'm extending it because it's so good.
yeah. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been watching recently.
So, what was the last place that you went to visit? Like, where did you travel to? And who
Ooh,
are you Instagramming with right now?
right now.
Yeah, you're on your phone. We can
Oh,
tell.
I'm like writing on a thing. I'm like drawing on a thing. Sorry. The last place I visited, like on a plane.
Like, yeah, like you got on a plane, you went to the airport, and you're like, ooh, I'm going on a trip.
Ooh, you know what? It would have had to been last year. I think I went home.
Damn.
Yeah, last October was the last time I was on the
Oh,
plane. So
oh
yeah, I
wow.
go in Wilmington. That was the last time I was in North Carolina. Yeah, I flew in. Yeah,
Do you miss like traveling?
so much so.
Where if somebody came to your house and was like, Grant, here's $5,000, but you have to spend it only on travel, where would you go?
I think I would go to Japan.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think I will go to Japan. Just because like that's like a pretty big place on my list. Like, all right, if I don't go anywhere else, let's go to Japan. Just because, like,
Japan's dope, yeah.
yeah, I've heard it's like really nice.
Yeah, and you can do stand up over there. Okay. So social causes, what are some things that you strongly believe in that you're like, I wish people would just get it together and understand that this is important because I care about it.
Yeah. So we kind of start with like the climate change thing. I wish that was something that more people actually believed in. Just because I think like if you look at like all the things that are happening across the country, like pandemic aside, like half the country being on fire on the West Coast, and then like hurricanes happening like every 2 or 3 weeks, and then like tsunamis hitting like a lot of like Asian countries at the same time. It's just like, dude, this is like out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
it's stuff we've done.
like Earth is like talking to us. Like, what are you doing to our planet? So, are you teaching your students about climate change?
No. So I teach math, but the science teacher, he's really dope. So I think they've talked about it, or they're going to talk about it. But like, I think in my class, like in math, we mainly talk about like financial literacy. That's something we've been pushing this
Oh, that's good.
a
So
lot of.
is it possible to like incorporate climate change into your math? Like if you add 4 apples to this like one abandoned like farm that, only grows organic produce, stuff like that.
Yeah, it could definitely be incorporated. Yeah. I think it would be good for them to see it because like even the kids, believe it or not, some of them, as much technology as they have, a lot of them aren't informed on issues like climate change and stuff like that. Like if it's a TikTok video, they'll know it. But
Ooh,
other than that,
that's really good to know, like how you can inform them via TikTok.
yeah,
Like the planet is burning.
yeah, the stupid dances is so hilarious. They dance during class, which is ridiculous as well. I'm just like, okay.
How many kids do you have in your class?
So per class, typically it's about maybe 10 to 15 kids will be in the Zoom call.
You said her class?
Oh, in our class, sorry.
Because you have 2 teachers?
Yeah, so it's myself and my co-teacher. So it's like 10 to 15 students. So since what
Oh,
happens is like the kids come into the class and like one of us is presenting the other person might be like in the chat or whatever, like writing the notes. So it's a real legit situation.
does the person doing the chat have to tell kid, oh wait, they don't get to touch each other. They don't get to like hit on each other or like fuck around.
Right,
Right?
right.
Oh wow.
It's funny because it's like kids are still smart. Like
Yeah.
when me and you were in school, like we're still gonna find a way to talk to our friends. Like they might be on Snapchat sending messages back and forth while in class, or like they're doing the TikTok dances. Like I've seen them literally like doing this stuff and all that. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. Are you missing any children because they can't afford a laptop or anything like that?
Um, I think like the first week of school, that was kind of an issue. But since then, like a lot of the school system has like sent out like Chromebooks and stuff like that,
A word?
which is amazing. Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like if I was in the 7th grade,
Should I register for 7th grade right now?
right. But yeah, it's been good.
What kind of laptop are you using?
So I have a MacBook, but my work laptop is it's like a Dell or something like that.
Which one do you prefer?
Okay. So for Zoom, I prefer this camera because it's better.
Which is on the Mac.
On the Mac, yeah.
Okay.
But on the Dell, it doesn't freeze. Like Zoom doesn't freeze.
Oh, okay.
Like the processing is better somehow on my work computer versus this.
Okay, because your Mac is probably not, it's probably older, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Mac machine that's like from 2008, and anyone that ever sees it makes so much fun of me. Like, but I had no idea that it was that old because it keeps working. It works for me.
Yeah.
And then people come over and they're like, why do you have this relic in your house?
Yeah, those things, they don't die. It literally would take probably another 3 years for that thing to die for sure.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, yeah, so your Mac, whatever. I don't even know where I was going with that, but cool. Let's see. So are you working on new bits?
Yeah, definitely working
What
on
are
new.
you talking about these days?
So a new one, where's the joke book? Not nearby. Okay, I think I have it on so new jokes that I've been like kind of trying to look at. Sorry, I'm like looking on my computer trying to look at like actually, when's the last time you saw me on stage? Was it that show we did? Steve's show, I think.
Who's Steve?
He has like the improv show or something. Is his name Steve?
Oh shit, yes. Oh my God. It was at that beautiful opera center.
Yeah. I think it was February or January.
No, it wasn't this year. Was it this year? Yes, it was.
It was.
It was.
Just 10 years in 1 year. That's what it is.
I was doing a Zoom comedy show, and a comic from DC, I think her name was Francesca. She's like, how is it that we're simultaneously in the past and in the future at the same time? Which I thought was so clever, because it is. We're kind of like in the past, but then we're also
we're stuck in like a time period right now.
I heard someone say it was like purgatory, but yeah.
Definitely feels that way.
Did you find your joke book?
Oh yeah. So I think I got this idea that I was like kind of shopping around in my head, like about like getting older and like now having like a weighted blanket at 30 years old. Cause like in my 20s, that was nothing I would have ever like, oh, why would I need that? But now it's just like, oh, this helps put me to sleep because I'm old now. Like that's like an idea I've been like trying to toss around in my head, trying to find.
That's actually a good tip. Like you just reminded me that I fucking need a weighted blanket. Like I need one, because it just makes you feel like you're back in the womb or something.
Yeah. It's ridiculous because like my boy, he hit me up and he was asking if I had one or something like that. I was like, I don't even know what that is. He's like, dude, get like a 20-pound weighted blanket. I was like, 20 pounds? There's no way. But now I have one, and it's pretty great.
How much does your blanket weigh?
It weighs like 15 to 20 pounds. I think it's maybe might be 15 pounds actually.
So you got it in a box delivered to you, and it was like heavy, like a 15-pound.
Absolutely.
Weird.
Yeah. I think I got it on Amazon. So yeah, pretty good.
How hard is it for you to get up in the morning with the weighted blanket?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is not easy, not gonna lie. Like the first week or so I had it, it definitely felt like somebody was like just leaning over you or whatever. So yeah, and you will sweat a lot because it's like it's heavy. Like you're not used to like anything being on you while you sleep. So like yeah, there will be some pains at first. At least I had some like the first few days. My chest is like real tight, my back is tight, but yeah.
Did you wake up like a week later and you lost like 5 pounds from all the sweating?
I was stronger, that's for sure. Yeah. I would recommend like.
That's crazy. All right. I like it, but I didn't realize it's gonna literally be like 15 pounds of weight. I hate like extra.
Yeah.
I wonder what I can use to just, I'll just put a chair over myself.
Yes, I would recommend it.
All right, so there's this thing that I want to get to, and I don't know how to weave it into our conversation. This whole thing has been all over the place, so thank you for flowing with me. So I recently read that a lot of diseases and emotional disturbances and like a lot of mental illness can come from our environments. Our environment, our nutrition, and also like a lack of forgiveness for others. What do you think about that? It's so loaded.
Yeah, that is very, very deep.
It's like
that was a mic drop moment. I was like, oh, okay. I feel like this is like a debate question I should have prepared. No, I do think that definitely like there are some external factors that will definitely like have, these effects on us. Like I think about like just lost my train of thought that quickly. Okay, so we're talking about So I think that like kind of like earlier when we were talking about like being out and about, like having a positive impact on us, like mentally and spiritually, stuff like that. I think also like the people you're around, they also can bring down your mood. And if you're like always in that space, like your mood will become whatever their mood is. So like, that's why it's good to like keep like positive energy around you. Like as comics, we know a lot of comics who are just like sad and
Bitter.
yeah, like angry people. It's just like it's so hard to like be a comic who is positive because it's like you're around that all the time. Like when I get on stage, I'm having a good time because I actually love doing stand up. But like sometimes I watch comics, I'm like, I think you love doing what your friend does. I don't think you actually love doing comedy because like you see how sad and dark material can be without like actual funny, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible that those people are still trying to find the levity in their sadness, or do you think that they're not even trying to find the levity? Because
Mm,
sometimes I know personally in the beginning, like I would start telling stories and I was searching for levity, but I hadn't quite got there yet. So a lot of the times I would tell a story and half the audience would like be sad for me, like, oh my God, should I go up there and hug her? And there would be like 3 or 4 people that would like get it. They're like, oh, like, you know, like this is her pain, but she's making fun of it. But obviously that other side was like there was more of those people like, oh my God, I want to hug you.
yeah, I think for some people, yeah, I can definitely tell they're trying to work out a bit. Some people like there's no sign of any comedy that's going to happen in that joke. Like some people have jokes where they're talking about the most vile things and
Mm,
like, oh, okay, well, I think you just have this very strong opinion on something. I don't think you really have a joke to follow this.
yeah, right. So yeah, that sucks. And so you have to protect yourself, right? Like so if you're around that, then how do you protect yourself from that kind of energy?
Yeah, I think I'm not a person who has like a quote unquote circle, but I do think that like there
Like
are people.
square?
Oh, absolutely, big square. No seven. Uh, I think for me, like there are comics who like oftentimes I'm seen with because I know they're actually like pushing towards like the ultimate goal of being a professional comedian, not like okay, I'm doing stand up because I've been doing it for 3 years and I've gotten paid 4 to 5 times a month, blah blah blah. But like people are like okay, this is like my life's work. Those are people who I'm trying to like be around because
Mm.
that pushes me to like another place as well. So I'm like, all right, I'm around good energy. Good energy will come back to me.
Yeah. I recently saw an interview with Kobe Bryant and he was talking about like I think the question that was asked to him was like how do you deal with people that are like he's such a grinder, like he's such a hustler, like how does he deal with teammates that are not hustling and he's just like I don't have time for them. He's like I don't want you near me. He's like you're going to bring my level down? I don't think so. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so badass. That's so definitive. Like you're lazy? Don't I'm not even talking to you."
Yeah. I think a lot of people who I'm typically rolling with, a lot of times if it's like a day where let's say I'm not feeling the best, not like physically, but I'm just like, I just want to be at home today. Like I'll get a message from them. They'll be like, oh, where are you tonight? And I'm just like, oh, I'm like taking it easy or whatever. They might send a message back like, oh, well, I'm doing this spot, this spot, this spot. Make sure next time you come out that you connect with these people, these people, these people.
Oh wow, that's a good person. Yeah. They're
So,
hooking you up. Yeah.
so yeah, that's I do get the Kobe thing though. I think I meet a lot of comics who, you know, you'll see them at shows and you'll see them at mics and they're just hang arounds. They're not really comics, if that makes sense. Like they do jokes, but they rather just hang out with their friends.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about what you're saying is that even though that's maybe the case, I feel like those people will probably get more opportunities because that's part of like this thing that we do is like just hanging around and just being there. So even if they're not funny and even if they're like not polished, I feel like even just their presence in the space is like good enough. So it's interesting because it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be talented.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many comics who, like, when the pandemic started, were comics I had never ever met in the city, and I've pretty much been in every borough doing jokes. So like, I should know the vast majority of the comics. Like,
Yeah.
even if we're on the same show, I should at least know your name. And I'm just like, oh, who's this kid? And then I see they have shows. I'm like, okay, let me go check out the show. And like, they're trash. And it's like, oh, okay, you were around in June and July when the rest of us were like, okay, we're staying in the house. So like, you just move it up by association. Like, oh, this is a person who's been doing comedy during this time, so you have shows.
You know what? I saw the movie Dolomite with Eddie Murphy yesterday. Have you seen it?
Loved it.
It's so good. Eddie Murphy is incredible because it stays with you like long after the movie is done. His character. But Dolomite, what I thought was interesting about Dolomite is that when he was putting together his movie, he knew what the public wanted. He's like, oh, they love karate, like girls doing karate. Oh, they like some tits and ass. Like he knew what people want. He knew what was the other thing? Like it was women doing karate, lots of skin, and there was some other stuff. But he knew the elements that would attract the audience, and then he kind of just figured it out. Yeah. And that kind of reminded me, like, he didn't necessarily need to be a good director or a good actor, just like the talent of like knowing what people want. So yeah.
Strategy. Like sometimes when I'm like watching professional comics, so let's say I'm watching like Dave Chappelle or whoever the case might be, like I might be watching their set and like I'm taking like notes. I'm like, oh, people are laughing really hard at nostalgic jokes because nostalgia is like an automatic feeling. So like if they remember that memory, they're more than likely gonna laugh. Like I got some jokes where I talk about like McDonald's having the mixed salad shaker where they had like the salads in the cup.
Oh wow, yeah, throwback.
It's a random thought that like it'll hit maybe 40% of the audience, and then like the other 60%, when I explain it, it'll get a laugh.
Right.
Just because like we're the age group where we remember it, but if we have young kids, they're like, "What is that?" So yeah.
That's interesting. All right, that was it. That's all I have.
What a smooth transition.
What a smooth transition. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, I've been wanting to do this for forever. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I need lights. I need this. I need that. I need this. And then I just keep thinking about what I don't have and I haven't done it. And I'm like, fuck it. I really like talking to people and I should just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah. So where can people find you? Because you do a lot of sketches, right? Your Instagram is always full. Well, I haven't seen a lot of sketches on your Instagram.
It's been a minute. I need to do some sketches.
You do really good ones. They're really funny.
Thanks. They can find me on Instagram, Grant Sheffield 1. On Twitter, I'm at Grant Sheffield. I think that's all the social media I really use.
Do you have YouTube?
I do, but I don't have any videos because I hated those videos. So I took them down. I think I had the videos, but I was like, do I like this? I have like 5 that I could put up easily.
Why don't you share it for people that never leave YouTube?
That's true.
There's people that don't leave YouTube bubble.
You know what's weird? I don't even use YouTube. I don't use it. I know it's a cardinal sin. Everybody uses it. I actually detest YouTube.
Why? Let's fight.
It's boring. It's boring to me. Like
you're not looking up the right things.
Like everything I want to see is gonna be on Netflix or Hulu. Like
okay.
Like I will watch YouTube typically. I don't know if I'm gonna watch like somebody's SNL monologue from the previous night, or I don't know. I guess if Cuomo is saying something important, I'll like watch that on YouTube.
Or you're gonna watch this on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'll be the first person to click on it.
Yeah, like. But yeah, so I mean that makes sense. So you do more movies and stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big movie person versus like clips and videos.
I do a lot of inspirational shit. I'm like, or like I did like a solid month of Kobe interviews.
Ooh, just listening. Your feelings, huh?
Huh?
You're definitely in your feelings. You watched a month of Kobe? Oh.
I did, yeah. He's so good. And then from him, I discovered Tim Grover, which is like, I think like a physical.
I know that name.
Yeah, something or other. And he's like beast, like he has a book called Relentless. And it just talks about like how if you want to be the greatest, you have to like just practice every day and like just take no prisoners. It's so good. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
I hope that I make this really fun and like I chop it up really well. And then, yeah,
this was fun.
You had fun? All right, cool. Well, have a great rest of the week. Stay covered up and I'll see you around.
All right, I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.